What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of Real Estate Agent Rehab.
We are joined today by Nikki Vasquez. She's the CEO of the Board of Realtors, South Bay Board of Realtors, mom of two, married for over 14 years, and we were joking before, but I asked you, are you really the mom of two, or maybe is it 5,002? And she kind of giggled and said, well, I guess we do have about 5,000 agents. So there we go. So before we get started, Nikki, how did you get involved in the Board of Realtors? Were you a realtor before this, or how did that work out?
I wasn't, so I'm not licensed. I actually started at RE/MAX, 24 years ago. And I worked there in the admin with Kelly Todd and Bob Todd.
Okay.
And I worked there for about 7 or 8 years. And then I went to do something else, event marketing somewhere else, for about 6 months. And then I interviewed at the association, and that was about 16 years ago.
Because if you try to get out of the business, they always bring you back in.
Exactly. You just can't leave. And I love this industry. I really do. I never sold real estate. I don't have a license, but I love being in the side of the industry that I'm in. And I love the members, and I've gotten to know so many of them through the years. So I do love what I do. Well,
it shows, and we appreciate what you do. And,
thank you.
And what you bring to the association. You are newer to the association now.
Do you mean the job?
In your role now?
Yeah, so in my role now, I've been doing the CEO position for 2 years. Prior to that, I was the COO.
Okay.
Under Kathy Kelly, and then she retired, and I became the CEO.
So what do you believe the most significant benefits of being a realtor compared to a regular real estate agent? And what I mean by that, for people who, being a member of the board and the association, you are a realtor as opposed to a real estate agent when you're not a member. And we've got a lot of talk right now of agents talking about leaving brokerages, or not brokerages, but boards. And what's the difference? Help us out with that.
Well, I think the main difference, of course, is that in order to use the word realtor, you must be a member of the association. So It's a 3-way membership. So you're a member of your local, state, and national. In addition to that, all realtors are bound by the Code of Ethics. So that keeps all realtors to a higher standard than just any real estate agent who's just got a license. So I think that's important, and I think it's important for realtors to tell the members of the public that, and tell their clients that as realtors, we're all bound to a higher ethical standard. And I also think as realtors, you have a much bigger network of information, your peers, the information from NAR, from CAR, and also the advocates that we have legislatively here locally, California, and nationally.
Nice. Okay. How does the association support realtors in maintaining that ethical standard that we do? You know, obviously you're gonna tell us when we do something wrong, but how do you tell us what we're doing right, or how do you keep us in that world?
Well, I think it's important that everybody understands, and I think newer members will remember that when you first join, the very first thing we talk about is the Code of Ethics. And we make sure you know where they are, you know what it is. You do have to take a new member Code of Ethics training. So that's right off the bat. So you kind of start fresh, you learn it, you understand it. And then at orientation, we also go into it in depth. So members can really understand what the different codes are, what the different articles are. And also, I'm sure you guys all know, you have to renew your Code of Ethics every 3 years. So that way it keeps members up to date of what the Code of Ethics are. And I do think our members in the South Bay they do follow our Code of Ethics.
Mm-hmm. They do, absolutely.
Obviously, like you mentioned about what people are doing good. Obviously, I don't get those calls often because people but that's just in general, right? Like people just don't call to give, somebody did something good, even though it would be nice. But even the bad things, we don't hear them very often, because I do think our members really do strive to hold themselves accountable and hold themselves to a higher standard, which I think is awesome.
What do you think is like the biggest complaint or the biggest ethics violation that you do see when you do get them?
I think it varies. During COVID, it was a lot of people not following showing instructions, which is so funny. We talk about it at new member orientation, because all of a sudden it became like a huge thing we would get complaints about all the time, because people had stricter showing instructions, stricter rules on when they wanted people in and out of properties, and that one seemed to get violated a lot at that time. So also another one that we see a lot is realtors saying that the other agent didn't present their offer.
No, yeah.
You know, and that's a tougher one to prove, you know, but we do hear that too, that they think that their offer wasn't shown to the other agent.
So not the what was the thing with putting up the sign and or advertising before it's on the MLS?
Oh,
Clear cooperation.
Yeah.
You know, when that first started, that was rough. I will admit that, and I'm sure you know, as the broker and a manager, that was rough. People had to get used to that. But you know what? Ironically, it's not as big of a deal anymore. People just, they know it's the rule. I mean, we still have people that don't.
So let's talk about this for a second. When Clear
Vance is
Cooperation
passionate about
came
this,
in, everybody thought this was going to ruin the industry. And it upset it for a couple days, a couple weeks.
3, 4, maybe.
Maybe a couple months. And then we went back to normal and everybody's just dealing with it.
Because change is always shocking, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna change. But those of us who have been in the industry for a while, we know that without change,
we weather change.
Right. Change is inevitable.
Wasn't part of that where we had to disclose the commission on the buyer side or through like the internet and everything?
Yeah, that was then
the
when
Department of Justice.
Yeah, and then now we have to take that away.
Yeah, and I guess you know that all goes along with change, right? Things come and go and change, but I do believe that we are a good, strong industry, and we have really good realtors, and we will survive this too. We will survive just like we survived Clear Cooperation, and like you said, people were like up in arms about it, but I mean, we don't hear about it that much. People just learn, and we teach it, like I was saying in the new member orientation, we teach it right there. So when they are first joining, they're learning about it. And I'm sure in the offices, they're learning about it too. So it's just kind of becoming part of the norm.
So how we do the business is changing, but what we do in the business will always stay the same. And that's kind of like what we need to understand. Then as realtors, we have these boards that we can lean on for education and for all the ancillary opportunities that present themselves. So talk about the tools that the South Bay Association offers to realtors, to its members, enhancing growth, success. How does the association ensure its members stay up to date with the latest industry trends and regulations?
Well, many ways. I think one of them, and I think it's where we really hang our hat, is the education that we provide. We've always been really big on our education. We really try to provide most of it for free. And some of it does cost our designations and our certifications, but we try to provide them at the lowest cost possible. But most of our classes are free. I would say 90% of them. So we try to always, whatever's the current thing happening. I remember back when I first started at the association, short sales were like, that was what we were doing.
Everybody.
And we would have like 3 or 4 short sale classes a month. And there would be 70 people in these classes. So we obviously change with the time and the trends and whatever's going on, but we try to bring out the classes that members are looking for. For example, right now, we're really bringing out all the classes with the contracts. So I think that that's how we really keep our members up on the industry trends and what's going on, is we try to make sure our classes match that. We also I started a CEO newsletter, and then I also have our GAD, our Government Affairs Director, Gina. She does a newsletter that is all about advocacy and what's going on in each city. So, for example, in different cities, they have different things that are going on. We try to pretty much talk about housing issues, but for the most part, but we want to make members aware of what's going on in each of our South Bay cities that we cover. So we have that. I have my newsletter that I put out information that's coming out. We try to bring together our local information, CAR and NAR, because as all of you know, we get tons of emails from NAR, CAR, us. So we try to kind of condense all of them into my newsletter so that we're getting out that information to the members.
Great.
So mainly classes, but we have other benefits through CAR and NAR and I mean, there's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, you do. So CAR, I think the biggest benefit from CAR is the legal hotline.
Oh yeah.
I think without that, many
100%.
members wouldn't be able to, finish transactions and things like that, because things will come up, and like when people call me, sometimes I have to say, I'm not an attorney, so I can't give legal advice, but here's the legal hotline number. And so I think that saves members tons of money, because it's free for our members. Another CAR benefit is the free 45-hour license renewal. So for all of our members, all of our South Bay members, they can renew their license for free. It's all 45 hours. It's one class. You don't have to get. I remember when I first started too, it was like people would get like 3 hours here. And 3 hours
you were banking everything.
And you were
saving
collect them all and be like, okay, do I have my whatever it was, 40 hours or whatever? And now it's like you get all of them and you finish it and you can then take your test. So that's free also. I think also another piece that kind of goes hand in hand is the advocacy, and that's locally, state, and national. So we have our own government affairs director. There's obviously people at the CAR level and people at the NAR level that are always advocating for real estate, home ownership rights, things like that. So I think that's another benefit of being a member too, is you have people advocating for your career, your business, and for the home ownership.
Do you see, like, with all the NAR stuff and all the lawsuits and stuff going on, do you see a lot of members that are leaving because they didn't like how NAR kind of, dealt with the lawsuit? I'm sorry, maybe off topic, but, like, do you see that? Are you seeing that where people are like, oh, I'm not going to be a member? No, okay. That's good.
And of course, I can't speak for other associations. I can't speak for any other states, but here at the South Bay Association, no.
Okay.
And, we just had a member orientation yesterday, and we had 60 people. So, we're still growing. We haven't lost members. And I think that's great. I think people do understand that, like you were saying, things are going to change all around us, but what we do is still the same.
Yeah.
And we're trying to change too with whatever we have to do. CAR's changing with the new forms. So we're all changing, and as long as we all stick together, and I think we can all get through this together.
Awesome.
So what are some common challenges faced by realtors that you think the association can help assist?
Well, some of them, I don't know if we can help. Obviously, in the South Bay, our interest rates are high, our inventory is low. Those are things that we can't really help with.
Sure.
But I think that another challenge that we're facing, of course, is all the changes that we've sort of hit on a little bit today. And I think that that's going to be a challenge for people that have been in the business a while, because we're used to a certain thing.
Yes.
Right? A certain thing that's, from the whole time I've been in the industry, it's been that way.
Yeah.
That I can remember for 20 something years, that's how we've always done business. And it's going to be changing drastically. But I think that the association is is all of your partner. We're here to help you. We're here to bring the education. We're trying to bring as much training as we can. We have attorneys coming to do training. And I think that is our main goal, is just to make sure members are informed and trained as much as we can on the new forms, the new ways to do business. Because I think that is definitely going to be our biggest challenge in the next, year or so. Who knows what's going to come up. But like we said, Clear Cooperation was the same thing, right? Everyone was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And we got through it together.
Yeah, one day at a time. It's okay. And I actually was talking with Amir before we started, and I've dug into all these courses and classes and really digging into the forms. And the one thing I can say openly is it actually seems a lot better than we thought. It's not as bad as we thought, and actually some of the changes are really good. There's only a few that are kind of not questionable, but certainly outside of what we would like it to look like. But other than that, it's okay. That moving forward, can you share any success stories through being a member of the board?
Yeah, I think so. I've been the CEO for 2 years, so I think since I've been the CEO, I think the greatest success story that we've had, which you were a part of, is our Leadership Academy.
I was just going to bring that up. Go on.
So we started that last year, and I think what was so fun to watch is we had 10 or 12 people in the last year. This year we have 10, watching those people do something with that, right? So we have people that are on committees now. We have people that have become a committee chair. We have 2 committee chairs from our Leadership Academy last year. We have someone who's a CAR director. So it's fun to watch people kind of start in leadership and then see where they blossom to.
Sure.
Because there's so many levels of leadership. It's here, it's locally, state, national. It's in your own cities, because we would love that. We would love our members to become city council members or get involved on commissions in their cities. So being able to see that and being able to see people take that leadership class and do something with it, I think for me is the biggest success that I've seen.
So that leadership class, by the way, was phenomenal, and anybody who has the opportunity to go to it should attend.
Yes, agreed.
That said, is that an annual thing that you're
Yes.
doing? So it's just once a year.
Once
So
a
you're
year.
either in or you're out.
Right, because
Wow,
it's pretty
okay.
much about, it's 6 classes,
Yeah.
so it's half the year.
Right,
basically.
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's yearly. So we try to do is we try to start it off with Ledge Day. So Legislative Day is when we take people up to the Capitol in California, and you get to visit and you've gone to that, right? Have
Yeah,
you been to it?
once.
Yeah. So you get to visit with your legislators up there, which is really exciting. I think that when I first went, that was kind of like when I drank the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
because you really get to see that, yes, you're all realtors. Yes, you're what you guys do is sell homes. That's what you do. But it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than just that. It's the laws. It's the things that pass, the propositions, things that pass or don't pass that could affect our industry dramatically. And without those legislators and without our advocates at CAR and NAR, we can't keep our industry the way it is. And I always like to bring up the fact that during COVID, we were not essential at first.
Right.
I think it was a few weeks.
It was like
Something
2
like that.
weeks.
2
Yeah, it
weeks.
was 2 weeks.
So for 2 weeks, you guys couldn't work, right? You couldn't do what you do best.
Yeah, I had a meltdown.
And
But we could worry, and we did that really well.
we all did.
We all did that well.
But because of our advocates at CAR, they were able to advocate for us up in Sacramento and say, listen, we are essential.
Because all states
No, not
didn't
all
go
states
essential.
were. No, and not all states were essential in 2 weeks either.
Right.
So, it's stuff like that makes a huge difference. And getting to go up to Sacramento and really see how all that works and see the legislators like, oh, here come the realtors. We're like the largest advocating group in California. So when the realtors go up to Sacramento, the legislators know we're coming. And, our assembly member, Marisucci, is the one that we meet with, and we have a big luncheon with him. And he comes and has lunch with us, and he answers questions, and he talks about what's going on. So it's really something you don't get to see or be a part of just, staying here in the South Bay. So it's so much more than just real estate here in the South Bay.
Nice.
Very cool.
So we've talked about this, but I have it written down. I just want to touch it. What are some key educational opportunities offered by the South Bay? I know you guys have classes and
Right.
things, but coming up, what do you think people should be kind of focusing on?
Well, right now, I think you should do your very best to take any type of town hall, any type of attorney class, any type of, educational seminar that has to do with the contracts. There are, I don't have the number with me, but I want to say it's like 20 something new forms coming out, or updated forms. So
24 new forms, 75 changes.
there we go, 24. So that's a lot. That's a lot. I personally don't remember it ever having that large of an update at one time. So, and the class, they're all free. So take advantage of those. There's lots of town halls going on. There's another one tomorrow, I believe, with CAR. We have our big general membership meeting August 6th, and that's going to be with Gov from CAR, Gov Hutchinson.
Right.
And he's going to go over all the new forms, all the
So that's
changes,
August 6th in person at the
on
board.
Zoom, on Zoom.
On
Yep.
Zoom, not at the board.
On Zoom, so that way everybody can join from anywhere you're at. I'd love to see all of our members there. I mean, reason we did it on Zoom is because we know that in person sometimes it's hard for people to get to. This way, if you're out of town somewhere, you could still take the class. So right now, that's what we're really trying to press is those type of classes. But of course, we have classes on all different topics. 1031 exchanges. We have courses for your assistants. So if your assistant wants to get trained on how to be like an assistant TC kind of thing. Another thing that we pride ourselves on for new members is our in-person MLS class. So they actually get to sit in front of a computer
in the
and
salon.
do it with the instructor, which a lot of associations don't do. And I think for me personally, it's easier when I'm able to do it hands-on versus I'm taking a class and writing things down and then trying to go back and remember what it was.
Right.
So I think that's another big thing that we do too is for new members, we really try to give them a big wealth of knowledge when they first join. So they're starting off with the information that they need.
Is there any sales classes and like scripts or
Not right now.
presentations? And like I always feel like that's probably some of the most important training is to get these guys to learn how to, talk the talk, walk the walk.
So ironically, we have been talking about that. So we're trying to put together a class on scripts for this new world we're living in, which is, how do you talk to your buyers about the new changes, right? And about how things are going to be done. So we're working on a class that is going to have scripts for that particular situation that I think everybody's going to be needing, because it's not something, it's a different way of doing business.
Yeah. It's certainly changed.
We can help you guys. We do a lot of classes like that.
Okay.
We have
great.
a ton of stuff on
We'd love to.
prospecting and book like script books and all sorts of
I
stuff.
think the more people out in our South Bay community that are ready and prepared and
we should do that. We should teach a class down there on sales and the prospecting.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I'll put that together.
because it will help as many people, but it kind of, they'll see us too. And
I
maybe
think the
wanna
more
work with
people
us
that
too.
really learn how to do it right,
Yeah.
the better. It can only help our industry,
Yeah.
right? If all the agents are prepared and ready to do it.
So what kind of advice would you give somebody coming into the industry today?
I would say you're lucky because you're starting off fresh, right? You're not going with 10, 20 years of how we used to do it. You get to start fresh, and this is how we're going to do it now. You're going to learn it from this point forward. So I think it's a good thing. And I actually said that in my orientation yesterday, which is, I know it sounds like a lot and it sounds like, oh boy, there's a lot of changes coming, but you're learning them from the beginning.
Right.
So I think that's going to be helpful. I would also say for new members, take every single class that you can take. Most, like I said, 99% of them are free. It can't hurt. The more training you have, the more information you have will really help your career. And I would also say get involved somehow, whether it's like join a committee, go to the networking events, meet each other, meet other realtors, because I think that's key for this industry is the networking and
Well, that was my next community and collaboration.
How
of
did
its
I know?
members,
Well,
right?
before we get to that,
how do we get everybody together?
There's other boards, right? So there's there's South Bay, Inglewood, Palos Verdes. So when I joined, I thought South Bay was just bigger and it was just covering more of an area. But as a brand new person, why South Bay versus Palos Verdes, Inglewood? What would you say is the number one thing that sets you guys apart?
Well, I feel like a broken record, but definitely our education.
Yeah.
Our education sets us apart from a lot of associations.
That's true.
We pride ourselves on it, like I said already. We also really try to make it mostly free. So to us, it's a member benefit. So it's not just a class; it's a class that you get to take because you're a South Bay member. You get to take it for free.
Do you guys check prices? Because that's a big concern. Like people want the lowest price. Are all of them about the same price or in the same range?
So we can't talk about pricing.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. Another.
So,
But as far as like, it's not different for like the CAR, NAR
No.
stuff. That's all
that's
the
the
same.
same across the board.
Same across
Yep.
the board. Okay.
Yep.
I always tell people to join the South Bay board, and it's because of the classes and the size. It's my primary board, and I visited different boards, and it's just looks the most professional,
Thank
the
you.
biggest. It has
Yeah,
a nice
just put
classroom in
together.
the back. It's put together really well.
Thank you.
And do you guys still have the location in Redondo Beach or no?
No, we closed that down during COVID.
Yeah.
Because we just obviously for 3 years we were all mostly hybrid or working at home and and it wasn't getting a lot of traction.
Okay.
It was mostly for supplies.
Yeah.
So it wasn't beneficial at the end of the day, especially because during COVID it was just going to sit there empty.
Yeah.
So are you all back working now?
Yep.
Everyone's back in the office, showing up every day, doing your thing.
Ready to help everybody.
See that, fellow realtors? They're showing up.
We also, I think you were mentioning like what else makes us stand out from other associations. I think our staff. I pride myself on my fabulous staff. I think that they're amazing. Our goal is always to help you guys. That's what we always want to do. We're always trying to do whatever we can to help you, even if it's something that's not necessarily something we can help you with. We try to give you the steps of, okay, call this, do this to get the answer. And we have 10 staff. So we have people to help you in every different aspect. We have our amazing government affairs director for advocacy issues and city issues. Sometimes city stuff comes up and, it's like, well, this is happening in this city. Gina will go get involved. And, we're known at all of our cities. They know who we are. They know to come to us for real estate information, which is what we want. So I think that also sets us apart from other associations.
So we skipped over the community and collaboration question. What kind of ideas or what kind of initiatives are you putting forth over the next few months that's going to foster some collaboration or community within the Realtors, especially now because we've got so many changes happening? Or have you guys been thinking about that?
Yes. So obviously we do what we can to have members come together, but as you were saying, since COVID, it's harder. A lot of people like to do stuff on Zoom, but we try our best to do. I think where our members come together the most is on our panel events, because we try to do those in person. So those usually have a good amount of people. And then we also, YPN does a coffee and caravan, which is really fun. They do that on Thursdays now. They switch it back and forth from Friday to Thursday. And it's right before the brokers opens, and they all come together and they have coffee together and they chat and they talk about the listings that are coming up. It's just a good way to network with each other. And YPN also does a lot of fun social events too. They have a Top Golf event, things like that.
But can Amir and I actually go to a YPN event?
Hey, I can go.
Isn't that young professionals?
Can't discriminate, man.
It's young at heart.
Great. Young at heart. Then I'm in.
Still go. What's funny is myself and Tamara Szyminski and Rob Morell, there was a few other agents that when we first started YPN, like 15 years ago.
I remember.
And I was like, I was YPN then. Now I don't know if I still am, but it's young at heart.
Okay.
And I feel like I am. You guys are young at heart too, right? So you guys can go. Anybody can go. Anyone can attend. They really do have fun events, and I think they are probably the committee that really does the networking and the come together and that kind of stuff. But I also think our community committee, they do a lot of that too. They do really great events so not necessarily for our realtors, but it's our realtors doing things for our community.
Okay.
We just had a YPN event with the mayors where everyone brought a backpack.
Oh, yeah.
And those backpacks all went to the South Bay foster care.
By the way, I showed up to that event and I forgot my backpack.
So everyone except for Vance brought a backpack.
I showed up the next day with 10. Okay.
See? And they were so appreciative. And
it was so cool to see all that. It was really cool.
What's funny is you don't really think about it unless it's happened to you or someone close to you, but a lot of those kids will come in with stuff or whatever and they have nothing to put it in. The people at Child Services in the South Bay said a lot of those kids put their stuff in trash bags.
That is atrocious.
And how sad. So we know all of our hundreds of backpacks went to those kids, so they have something to carry their stuff in. So it's things like that I think our realtors being out in the community, spreading love and doing great things is also important.
Absolutely.
And we really do try to do that during all different times of the year.
Well, Nikki, I want to thank you. Okay, I know I pulled you out of your office, told you it's just a little podcast, no problem. We're international, by the way. We got people all over the world watching. But
a little podcast.
We appreciate you taking the time.
Me, Vance.
Well, if I blow it up too much, then nobody comes. Okay. But that said, thank you for coming. Appreciate everything that you do with the board. Any advice you can give somebody coming into, thinking about coming into the business, or what your parting words might be to anyone listening, watching?
I think it's a great industry to be in. I love it. Like you were saying, I left for 7 months and came back a long time ago because I really do love this industry, and I think that you will love it too. I think it is overwhelming when you first start, for sure. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of things to learn, but the association is there for you. We're your partner. Your broker will be there for you. So if you're thinking about joining the real estate industry, I think you should, and I think it's a great industry to be a part of.
Very good. Well, I think that's going to do it for us, right?
Yeah, wraps up.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much, Nikki.
Thank you for having me.
You did fabulous.
Thank you.
You did really, really good, and we look forward to our continued partnership with you guys and all the great classes and everything down the line. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. So please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next one. And this is Amir, Al Chaos, broker CEO of West Shores Realty, and
Vance Mizzy, see you soon.